the Secretary of State had made, while the Prime Minister was on his near deathbed, had made this pledge to do 100,000 by the end of April. Now, this was an incredibly stupid thing to do, because we'd already had that goal internally. We'd already had conversations 10 days earlier to say, instead of cancelling testing, we should be ramping up testing. And it shouldn't just be 100,000. We should be heading for 1 million tests a day and more. But that means building the kind of architecture and the foundations to do all this properly. What then happened when I came back around the 13th was I started getting calls, and Number 10 were getting calls saying, Hancock is interfering with the building of the test and trace system because he's telling everybody what to do to maximise his chances of hitting his stupid target by the end of the month. So we had half the government, with me and Number 10, calling around frantically saying, do not do what Hancock says. Build the thing properly for the medium term. And we had Hancock calling them all saying, down tools on this, do this, hold tests back so that I can hit my target. Now, in my opinion, he should have been fired for that thing alone. And that itself meant that the whole of April was hugely disrupted by different parts of Whitehall fundamentally trying to operate in different ways, completely because Hancock wanted to be able to go on TV and say, look at me, my 100k target. It was criminal, disgraceful behaviour that caused serious harm. Now, one of the consequences of it was, we'll get onto that with the vaccine programme. That was one of the reasons why the Cabinet Secretary and I agreed that we had to essentially take testing away from Hancock and put it in a separate agency. So we could say, here's a separate person responsible directly to the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Secretary that Hancock couldn't interfere with theoretically. So there was all this bureaucratic infighting in April. Remember, the Prime Minister wasn't back then either. Dominic Raab was doing a brilliant job chairing the